Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and in this video I'd like to show you two racing chronographs made by Depancel in France. A bit at a budget. We're talking about watches under 700 euros, but with some very good specs and very good components, and so absolutely worth a review. And we have a winner. Welcome to this episode. As said, our topic is Depancel today. They contacted me from France with their latest watch, a chronograph, racing chronograph, as all of their watches are a bit connected to the racing sports, but with a case diameter of 43 millimeters. And I thought, I do this partly because I like to wear these watches, and 43 is simply too big for me, and so I was a bit reluctant, to be honest. And then I found out that the watch before, the model before that new watch, is also fairly new still and offers with a case diameter of 39 something I really can wear, and I think something that a lot of people can wear. And it had this Tag Heuer look, this enormously expensive Tag Heuer look we know from iconic watches like the Carrera, but for under 700 bucks, and with a movement I really enjoy. And this is the Venus 175 in its Chinese form, and this is the ST1901 movement. And there's a bit of a debate if this is a copy or a clone of this historic chronograph movement, but my information is that this Chinese company really bought the machinery from Switzerland to produce that movement. And this is a bit nerd talk, but I think many of us know this movement from Seagull watches. There you find this movement, and of course you have some stories around it that it comes in various qualities. I can confirm that. They feel different. You will see this in the lightbox. And there are also rumors that they are not 100% reliable, and I can second that because it's a mechanical movement after all. And if you sell, let's say, 10,000 watches with that, and Seagull is not exactly a small company, when you sell 10,000 of these movements, you will see some malfunctions. And I personally had one little one myself, and it was an easy fix for the local watchmaker. But these are all anecdotes, of course, but I have the feeling that these companies wouldn't use that movement with a real issue. And so I was very happy about this watch, the entire proposition, and I will show you both models. I borrowed two models so that you can check out the different dial colors. I will show you these watches in the lightbox in a minute. But first, let me introduce our winner from the last giveaway number 12. This was a Baltic HMS 002 watch, and this watch goes to Casper, and he lives in the UK in London, and he sent me this amazing wrist chart. And there you have everything we love in London. You have London sunshine in form of raindrops on the crystal of the watch. You have a red bus, and you have that lovely tweed, lovely wrist shot. Casper, thank you very much for participating. Congratulations. And to all you other guys, without luck this time, we will do this again. And now let's check out these watches. Okay, and here we are with our two watches. I have two models, as said, and they are similar. Okay, so the colors are different, but the models are the same, the specs are the same. And let's start here with the specs with the blue watch. We have a case diameter of 39 millimeters, length lug to lug is 45.5, thickness is 13, more of that later, and the lug width is 20. And then we have a modern sapphire flat crystal on top, and the watch here is waterproof up to 50 meters. And inside we find the mentioned caliber, the Venus 175 in its contemporary form, which is the ST1901, with a rather slow beat rate of 21,600 and a power reserve of 45 hours and a very nice look I will show you in a minute. And the price for this watch here is 645 euros or 650 US dollars. So relatively affordable, and it comes with a warranty of 5 years, 5-year warranty, which I think is a really nice feature. But first let's go over the dial now, and we see busy. There's really something to experience there. We have a relatively traditional layout, which is demanded by the movement. So we have a 30-minute counter on position 3, and the seconds here on position 9, right? So this is the functionality, but then we have a pulsometer scale and a tachymeter scale, and therefore you find all these numbers here around. Real numerals are in absence, which you see often on these watches because you need the space. You just need the space for other elements to collect data, so to speak. And I'm always impressed when I see that people pull this off, because this really demands attention to detail, because there are so many details and it's so easy to ruin such watches. And when you go closely, when you look closely, then you see this is not the cheapest of all dials. You have quite some elements there, some textures, some different surface treatment here. So every angle changes the dial drastically sometimes, which I really like. And very important to know is also that these colors are not only decoration when you see these chronographs. Often they are used to distinct parts and to make it easier to use the watch. For example, here the orange, you could say, well, it's a nice complementary color to that blue, but of course it connects the chronograph parts together. So it makes it very easy to distinguish the chronograph function from the other function. And so this absolutely makes sense. So very nice dial, very busy, a lot of going on, but not stupid. It's also the case, I mean, reminds us a bit of Carrera's Tag Heuer with that form here. Especially the form of the Lux is very typical racing chronograph. Strong facets, which gives a bit of a streamline here. So very nice. You see the crown and the pushers. Also very nice is that the crown wears this element here, this orange. Here you have a little insert with a reference number, which also is not the cheapest thing to undertake, I must say. And here you have the movement, but I will show you this with the other watch, because here you have a butterfly clasp and it makes it hard to show you the movement. And this strap, let's speak a bit about the strap, is of course here a vital part of the watch, because you have the typical racing strap with this pattern here, pattern of holes. Good looking clasp, works absolutely fine. So very nice thing. Let's compare it now. Let's take the other one. Here you have more white in it, and it looks a bit more down to earth. But I must say the blue is my favorite here. Clearly, without a second of doubt, the blue is my favorite. But this is, of course, as always, coined by taste. Here you have the blue and the subdial, the 30-minute counter. But I feel this, this is my watch, but perhaps this is your watch. Who knows? We're very different with that. Okay, let's examine the movement. And there you go. And I really love what I see here. I really like the look of these movements. They're very recognizable. When you have owned one, then you can't spot them really. And they're just beautiful with these stripes there, blued screws, and just a nice look. But, ladies and gentlemen, they are relatively high. And this leads us to the height of the watch, which is, of course, for a manual wound chronograph, is a smidgen high. But of course, you have to take in consideration you need that chronograph function in the movement, which adds up, right? And so it's a bit higher than other modern chronograph movements, but it really does look nice. And I think the watch is now 13 millimeters high, which I personally can tolerate. Here. And so, very nice. Let me know in the comments which version do you find more appealing, please. I'm very curious. Okay, functionality now. One interesting aspect is that every of these calibers feels a bit different. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. My theory is that the rubber sealing here adds a bit of difference to the winding action, which feels just nice, but it definitely is, here it's simpler to wind than the blue one, although the movements are similar. This is very odd, but it feels just great. And then everything is pretty straightforward. You have position 1 and you set your time, and that's it. Feels great. Feels precise. Not much resistance, but a bit of resistance. Really feels like a small, well-oiled machinery, and so I'm very happy with that. Chronograph with a nice cluck. You start it with the first pusher and you stop it with the first pusher reset button you find here. And this battery, really great, really nice. And so functionality is there, and now let's put it on the wrist. And there you have the blue watch on my 17-centimeter wrist, on that strap. By the way, I'm not the biggest fan of these butterfly clasps because they add up. See that? They're pretty thick, and when you have a solid, thick strap, then you have a bit of machinery there on your wrist, which can be too much, but of course they are very, they have a good feeling to it. It's very luxurious and very, this is particularly well made, I must say. Although my experience with these butterfly clasps is not huge because normally I don't wear them, but here you have the watch, here you have the impression, and yeah, I can only repeat it, the watch looks more pricey than it is, which is a bit of a stupid category because, but on the other hand, it's better than the other way around, right? So I'm really happy with it. Yes, and with this normal strap, which also looks terribly good, I must say, it's more comfortable. For me personally, these simpler clasps are more comfortable. And I still would opt for the blue one, but of course with the blue one there's a bit of a danger that you cannot see it anymore after some months on the wrist, that you're a bit tired of it. I think this danger is reduced here because it's the purer, simpler look, but this is more spectacular. And I don't know. Right now I'm enjoying this pretty much. And now I have the pleasure to show you more watches sent in by viewers, because they have continued to send me wristies all over the globe, or from all over the globe. And the first one comes from Ryan, and he writes, I just wanted to send you a quick note about the Archimede Pilot 200. I fell in love with the watch after your fantastic review last March. I finally pulled the trigger on one and I could not be happier with it. I always look forward to your videos. Keep up the good work. Mit freundlichen Grüßen, Ryan. Thank you very much, and I'm glad to hear that you're happy with your watch. I remember this review, and it was a very pure watch with that Flieger, with that aviation look. And so when you're in that genre, it's certainly worth a closer look, and it delivers something for your money, really. Okay, the second watch comes from James, and he writes, Hi Tim, on a rainy night here in Toronto, watching quality YouTube videos, smiley, enjoying my latest watch. A Ball Engineer 3. Interesting backstory with this brand. It's a 40mm, but I think I would have preferred it a bit smaller. Oh well, always enjoy your videos, James. Yeah, thanks. To me it looks okay on your wrist, to be honest. Looks okay, but we have discovered this before, that we're very different. Some people want that the entire wrist is covered by their watch. Other people want it smaller. So very different when it comes to taste. An interesting story behind Ball, yes. You didn't write that story, and to be honest, I don't know it. My experience with Ball is very, very limited, and I think I said before that I have to change this one time because they pop up here and there and they do look interesting, absolutely. So thank you very much for that contribution. And the last image comes from Cornelius, and he lives here in Germany, and he sent me my cooks. This is an art print I made the drawings for with the classic French kitchen brigade, so you can learn all the different stations, the saucier, of course, the rôtisseur, and all these people who are responsible for that great French supper, so to speak, in old restaurants and old hotels. So really big operation, and my dream was to draw these people, this brigade of cooks, of chefs, in the style of the Lean Claire, so a bit comic bookish. And I made an art print with that thing. And people continue to send me images of my own print, and always in the kitchen. Nearly everybody hangs this art print in his or her kitchen, which is absolutely great. And so big recommendation when you want something beautiful and interesting for your kitchen, then this could be it. Available at casebackwatches.com. Not exactly cheap because it's not a poster, and you will note this in the first second you pull that thing out of the tube that it's not a poster. It's a real print, printed on Hahnemühle, super fine paper, super thick paper, will age well or will not fade away like your usual poster. And so really big recommendation for your kitchen, the Brigade of French Cooks. Okay, and that's all for this episode. And if you want to send me a wrist shot or a site you find interesting or something else, then please use casebackwatches@icloud.com as an email address. And that's really all now for this episode. Thank you very much for your attention, and until next time.